Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the press conference of Schaeffler AG at IAA Transportation. I'd like to welcome you very warmly. Personally, if you are here on site, but of course we're also glad about those who are watching this via live stream. Over the next 15 minutes, our CEO of Schaeffler AG, Clausen Rosenfeld, and CEO of Automotive Technologies, Matthias Zink, will present the trends and challenges of Schaeffler when it comes to commercial vehicles and what kind of solutions we are offering. Due to the few minutes we have, we will not have a Q&A session afterwards, but you have the opportunity to contact our communications team, and of course, we will then gladly answer all your questions. With this brief introduction, I'd like to ask Mr. Rosenfeld and Mr. Zink to come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this IAA Transportation is a premiere for us at Schaeffler. It's our first time here with a booth. For the first time, we present our technology, our innovation and solutions for commercial transportation of the future. I'd like to welcome you very warmly to our press conference, and I will share the presentation with my colleague Matthias Zink. Welcome at Schaeffler. You see heavy-duty commercial vehicles and buses in these halls. They account for only 4% of the global vehicle fleet. However, they cause about 40% of global CO2 emissions in the transportation sector. The goal is net zero emissions by 2050 and thus already minus 20% by 2030. In several regions, such as in the EU, we have even more ambitious goals. As one of the globally leading automotive and industry suppliers, against this background, we thought about more activities in this segment. We want to present correct and strong solutions for commercial transportation. Today already, with more than 80 million, I repeat, 80 million bearings produced for commercial vehicles, we are a renowned partner of the industry. But we can do more, not just bearings. With our innovative products regarding drive and chassis, we'd like to support the development of a sustainable logistics system. And this means with our components and systems, we want to support automotive manufacturers to reduce fuel consumption, reduce emissions, and use the enormous opportunities of automated driving and digitization. Before I pass the floor to Mr. Zink, let me tell you something about future-oriented technologies. A very special future-oriented technology for cargo transportation is hydrogen. You see this at almost every booth here, and it's obvious. The energy chain of green hydrogen makes a CO2-neutral, sustainable future of mobility possible and can thus make an enormous contribution to meet our climate goals. As an automotive supplier, Schaeffler already benefits from cross-divisional cooperation with all the different Schaeffler divisions, which means we realize decisive synergies when it comes to developing and producing technologies for the hydrogen industry. Thus, you can use our solutions to produce hydrogen via electrolysis, and you can also benefit by using it on the road. The prerequisite here, ladies and gentlemen, is the smart industrialization of the required technology. This is our goal that we are striving for. For example, with the InnoPlate joint venture we opened prior to the summer holidays, you see one of the partners across from this hall. Together with Symbio, a joint venture with Faurecia and Michelin, we want to produce a key component of fuel cells, the so-called bipolar plates. Very soon, we will establish the new company following the approval by the antitrust authorities, and starting in 2024 in the French town of Haguenau, we want to produce plates with a superior power density, which reaches up to 40,000 operating hours, and this is what commercial vehicles need. Ladies and gentlemen, the fuel cell is an important technology for the transportation of the future, but not the only one. In order to present such a range of innovative technology for the transportation and logistics industries to you, as you can see here at our booth, Schaeffler has set the course very early on. As part of our 2025 roadmap, we focused on 10 standard customer sectors across all of our 3 divisions, apart from passenger cars and commercial vehicles. This includes trucks and buses. We systematically developed new technologies for the transformation of this industry, and we're covering the whole cycle from automated driving to cylinder shutoff in our variable valve timing that you can see at our booth. And this is the specialty of Matthias Zink, and I'm glad to hand over the floor to Matthias Zink. The floor is yours. Thank you, Mr. Rosenfeld. Logistics and transportation, ladies and gentlemen, concerns everybody every day. Every day we have to deal with this in different scenarios, long haul or in our quarter regarding the famous last mile. According to current forecasts, global commercial transportation is supposed to increase by 2.6 times in terms of ton kilometers by 2050, and most of the goods are transported by truck. In the EU alone, heavy commercial vehicles transport about 3/4 of all cargo. And this makes transportation on the road the backbone of trade and industry. But what does the truck drive in future look like? My first answer is there is not the one-fits-all truck drivetrain for the future. In order to meet decarbonization goals, we need several drivetrains for different applications. Light commercial vehicles for inner city and ex-urban distribution transport for crafts and trade, light pickups and heavy-duty trucks in distribution transportation for construction and in the municipalities, up to long-haul transportation. Schaeffler expects that by 2030, about 60% of commercial vehicles will be driven by an internal combustion engine. About 20% of vehicles in this segment will then have a hybrid functionality, and about 20% will be all electric. However, 5 years later, by 2035, the shares will be 30, 30, 40 respectively. So the share of internal combustion engines will be reduced by half, from 60 to 30%. We forecast a doubling of vehicles, all electric or with a fuel cell, from 20 to 40%. Schaeffler, as you can see here, is developing systems and components for all of these drivetrain alternatives. With our approach, which is open to all technologies, we want to make an important contribution to meeting global climate goals with innovative drive concepts. We see the biggest growth opportunities for commercial vehicle drivetrains, i.e. electrification. And Schaeffler offers a very broad range of production. So let's start small and then we will do more. It starts with our chainless drivetrain systems for electric e-cargo bikes called Free Drive, which are about to be produced soon. Especially in cities of the future, and you see this at IAA Transportation, cargo bikes close an important gap when it comes to transportation covering the last mile. The special feature of our system is it works without chains, pinions or belts, And fewer mechanical parts mean less wear, thus fewer breakdowns and longer service periods. We continue with the 48-volt hybrid module that we are developing for mild hybrids. In 2024, we will offer it as a series product in the first trucks. Most of fuel savings in percentage terms are shown in the so-called low-load cycle, as it is typical in food distribution transportation in urban areas. It is about 15% compared to a non-hybrid engine. With an additionally integrated variable valve train system by Schaeffler, this means we can save even 20% or more. Commercial vehicles can also be fully electrified, though. About 60% of the truck routes are lower than 500 kilometers in distance, and thus this can be done on a single charge regarding a battery-driven truck. EU mandates that 1/3 of the road performance of trucks has to be CO2-free by 2030. And this is where we want to make an important contribution with our expertise in electrified mobility. This means electric beam axles for pickup trucks up to 7.5 tons and solutions for tractors, offering electrified solutions. Here in Hanover, we also present our own power electronics based on silicon carbide that we adapted to commercial vehicles specifically. And we present our high-performance e-motors. With an efficiency of more than 97%, they can be used on the road and also off-road. The special feature of the e-motors is the innovative oil cooling and the hairpin winding and wave winding of the stator, a winding technology only a few companies can do in the world, and Schaeffler is one of them. Simultaneously, we also develop water-cooled e-motors. Next year already, initial commercial vehicles will be on the road using this system. When it comes to charging efficiency and protecting the battery while charging, especially at high voltages, thermal management is a key competence. Fleet operators can save money because the shorter the charging period, the earlier the vehicles can return to the road, and Schaeffler is a trailblazer when it comes to smart thermal management. At IAA, we present our technical solutions for efficient temperature conditioning of drivetrain and battery. Last but not least, and as mentioned by Mr. Rosenfeld, for the drive of commercial vehicles, Schaeffler also uses the fuel cell, and it will prevail for long-haul distances first, but also trucks covering longer distances on a regular basis can benefit from the advantages of hydrogen operation. At the IAA, we present an optimally coordinated system, including e-drivetrain, fuel cell system, and lithium-ion batteries. A demo vehicle on the basis of an e-transporter was redesigned. Electrical axle, fuel cell stack, and the energy management of this vehicle were developed in-house. As you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, e-mobility is about to appear in freight transportation, and it will come with Schaeffler. E-drivetrains, starting with the cargo bike drive as a small vehicle up to the 40-ton truck we want to grow enormously in future. We offer the correct technical solutions, and we make an important contribution to decarbonization. However, internal combustion engines will also make a contribution to lowering emissions. They will have to do so because every bit of lower emissions counts, and every percentage of fewer consumption figures means a benefit for long-haul trucks. Schaeffler increases the efficiency of injection systems with a variable valve train system specifically for commercial vehicles. With the iFlex Air, we reduce the fuel consumption and emissions and also costs for maintenance and thus costs for the operator, because valve flash adjustment is not done mechanically in the workshop, but we integrated it into the system already. And Schaeffler is working on innovative engine technology for using alternative fuels. Especially the direct use of hydrogen in converted internal combustion engines is being tested internationally by many vehicle and engine manufacturers. Our variable valve train system offers the right solution here as well. Irrespective of the mixture formation, we control the air path very exactly, and we make sure that the internal combustion engine is viable for the future also with new fuels. Ladies and gentlemen, with our product range for commercial vehicles, we do not only cover the drivetrain, but also topics regarding chassis, for example, automated driving. Here we count on a growth market as well, which will gain momentum in the years to come. In the Schaeffler Paravan Technologies joint venture, we are working on the space drive system, a steer-by-wire steering system where the steering wheel and the steering gear are no longer mechanically connected. And thus, we offer extreme flexibility to automotive manufacturers. We want to consistently further develop this for the automotive production because we can not only automate trucks, buses, transportation and logistics vehicles, but we can control them remotely. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, let's turn to a product by Schaeffler, which is important for our corporate history, the bearing. We have enormous savings potential when it comes to bearings for heavy-duty transportation in terms of consumption and CO2 emissions, irrespective of the drivetrain. In case of e-drivetrains, these savings means more range with the same size battery or identical range with a smaller battery. This again reduces acquisition and operating costs for fleet operators or makes it possible to have a higher useful load per trip. We developed a new wheel bearing unit, for example, specifically for commercial vehicles, where we use a new thermal treatment system and an adjusted seal concept. This results in a reduction of friction by 56% and energy savings of up to 600 watt per 13 tons of axle load. Now, let me translate this for you. In case of a commercial vehicle with an electric range of 500 kilometers, due to the new wheel bearing unit, per charging process, we save 11 kilowatt hours in energy. If a manufacturer wants to reduce the battery capacity, this means a significantly lower cost base. Kilowatt hour today accounts for around 100 euros. As you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, Schaeffler offers the technical solutions in order to electrify, automate, or make commercial vehicles more efficient. Our product range keeps growing at record speed. Thus, we are showing here today we can do trucks as well. Now, I'm glad to start our IAA Transportation premiere. I look forward to informative talks with you, other exhibitors and visitors at Hanover. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Rosenfeld. Thank you very much, Mr. Zink. And thank you to all of you for having paid attention here and watching us via the live stream. To the press representatives, please approach our communication team if you have questions today or in the days to come. This is the end of the press conference. Enjoy the rest of the day and the fair.